Short and long-term effects. What are the effects of ice? Well, we know that in small doses initially, ice gives people a feeling of euphoria. As I said before, we talk about dopamine and feeling great. So that's where the ice goes. It makes you feel great, feel euphoric. So that's why people keep taking it. You're alert, your confidence is increased, you're awake, your pupils dilate, so they get bigger, so they can see more, take more light in, and your appetite decreases. So you're not as hungry. Actually, unfortunately, in higher doses, so there's in low doses, short term. In higher doses, though, we see agitation coming in, irritability, sweating, teeth grinding, tremors, panic, anxiety, hostility, paranoia, hallucinations, and even overdose, which can lead to death. And we'll talk about overdose in a moment. Long-term effects, though, so someone who's been using for a while, regular use for up to 6 months is what we say is long-term use. We see weight loss. They're not eating. Their appetite is affected, so they don't eat, so they lose weight. Their weight loss leads to malnutrition because when they do eat, they don't eat very well. Kidney problems. Our kidneys, basically, very quickly, our kidneys are a wonderful organ. They flush out all the toxins we put in our body. So anything we put in our body goes through our kidney and our liver. It flushes out all the bad stuff, which we then urinate out, and keeps all the good stuff. But things like ice and other drugs can actually have an effect on the kidneys because the kidneys can't really flush out all the bad stuff, so a lot of it gets back into our system. Chronic sleep disturbance. You're awake all the time. You don't want to sleep, so your sleep patterns are disrupted. Anybody who's ever worked shift work, my background's in nursing. I used to do night shifts. I do a week of night shifts. It takes me at least 2 or 3 weeks to get back into a routine of doing day shifts, and then back on night shifts on the next roster. Imagine if you're taking ice 2, 3, 4 times a week, having a couple of days off it, and then you're using it again. Your sleep patterns never go back to normal. Anxiety, impaired cognition. It affects your brain structure. So the connections aren't there as well as they were. So you're not thinking, feeling, taking on new information as well as you were. Then there's anxiety and paranoia, depression, mood swings. As I said, dopamine. I've said earlier on, dopamine affects the way someone thinks, how it regulates the mood, dopamine and serotonin. Taking ice affects these natural chemicals. It leads to things like the paranoia, depression, mood swings. Think about it this way. The one thing that makes you feel great and normal and good when you wake up in the morning is gone. So of course you're going to feel a bit depressed, you're going to feel down. Very basic way of looking at it, but that's what we're looking at. Then we have aggression, because again, that's that increased confidence, that agitation, that everything's sort of speeded up and the brain can't quite cope with what's happening with the messages. Psychosis can occur, where someone sees, feels, or thinks things are happening. You might have experienced this with your loved one, where they're saying someone's out to get me, or there's people watching me, or someone's bugging my phone. This is what we call psychosis. Things that aren't necessarily there, but they think is real. And then, of course, dependence. So long-term use can lead to dependence. We've covered dependence in our one of our other earlier videos on the types of drug use. So please refer to that if you haven't already. So responding to it quickly, we're talking to an ice overdose. I mentioned overdose a moment ago. Medical help should be sought if someone has taken ice and you know they've taken ice. If they're experiencing seizures, they have chest pain, they've got a high temperature, extreme anxiety, hallucinations, or even paranoia, call 000 straight away. It's a medical emergency. Basically, we'll just quickly go through that. Chest pains, ice increases blood pressure, increases your pulse, heart rate, all those kind of things. So if you've got a bad heart, that can, already you're prone to heart attack or cardiac issues, ice will exacerbate that. Someone, normal, healthy person, too much ice, even then could affect their heart rate, their heart muscle, can cause the pain and then possible heart attack. Seizures, serotonin. As I mentioned before, one of the things that serotonin does, it regulates your body temperature, your core body temperature. So if anyone out there has ever had a child who's had febrile convulsions, the little baby, toddler, hits 40 degrees and all of a sudden their body just can't take anymore and the only way they can deal is just have these convulsions, these seizures. It's the same thing with an adult who's taking ice. The brain can't regulate temperature any longer, the body overheats. And this can then turn to seizures, which can lead to other issues. Anxiety, hallucinations and paranoia. Well, again, that's the psychosis stuff. So if you're ever worried about your loved one, they're saying, doing things that worry you, call 000, call for an ambulance, call for help, explain what's happening, why you're worried, what's happening for that person, and what help you might need at that time, and they should be able to talk you through it and give you that assistance. But at the end of the day, if you're ever worried about your safety or the safety of others, 000 is the first point of call. Ambulance or police, they're there to help. That's what they do. So, just quickly now, we're going to move on to drug use and mental health. Essentially, all drug use complicates mental health. Absolutely. Ice especially though. We've talked about, we've talked about dopamine and serotonin and adrenaline. These all regulate mental health. They all make you feel normal and good, and these are the things you need. People who use ice can experience various mental health problems. Depression and anxiety though are the most common. Generally, then we also see psychosis, not as often as we might think. Unfortunately, they're the ones we hear about in the media. It does happen, absolutely, but more people who use ice get the depression and anxiety first. So there are some warning signs before they become psychotic, if you can pick them up, which is not always easy. So depression symptoms may, they vary. It might be just low energy, just feeling tired. Loss of enjoyment though, not hanging out with the friends they used to hang out with, not doing the things they used to do, just feeling blah is what we like to, not a clinical term, but it's one I like to use. Overwhelming feelings of sadness, loss. Their sleep patterns change. With ice, the sleep patterns will change as well. There'll be a loss of appetite with using ice, but also someone who's not using and they're a bit depressed, don't really feel like eating. Quite often, sometimes though, the opposite is in effect, and they'll overeat. So you've just got to watch out for these little signs. Feelings of worthlessness, guilt, thoughts of death and suicide, all of which can go along with just normal drug use. But be aware, maybe there's something else happening there, and talk to your loved one about that. We talk about how to talk to a loved one about their use and mental health in the strategy section, so please have a look at those videos as well. Anxiety is excessive worry. We all worry, we all stress, but anxiety is a bit more than that. It's a bit more than just, what's happening for me today? I'm a bit scared about doing this. I'm a bit worried about talking to some people I never know before. It's more than that. So symptoms can include though, racing heart, heartbeat, chest pain, blushing, fast breathing, shortness of breath. Again, all the things we see when someone is taking ice. But if they haven't taken for a while, these are some other symptoms that we might see. They actually point to something else that's happening for them. Stomach pain, sweating, nausea, racing thoughts, fear and panic, all these things that I'm worried what's happening, I don't know, I can't face the day, all these kind of things. Again, we see when someone's using, when they're coming down from ice, we also see a lot of this. Now you combine the two, you combine someone who's using ice with these anxiety or depressive symptoms, you're going to have a real issue on your hands very quickly. So it's good for you, speak to your loved one, find out what's happening for them. Can you help them? Can I do this for you? Can I do that? Just see where they're at. If they're not doing so well, if they're needing the help, get them professional help. Talk to a counsellor for them, GP. If it's really dire emergency, 000. In another section, we talk about support and where you can go for help. Have a look at our resources, have a look at those videos, where you can get for help, what you can do to help your loved one and yourself as well. Because these are legitimate issues that people face every day. And then we talk about psychosis. Psychosis is basically when someone's lost contact with reality. They see things, they feel things, they hear things, as I keep saying, that aren't there. They may feel that people are following them, that people are watching them all the time, that their phones are bugged, things like that. Now, may be true, may not be true, but you need to sort of be aware of what's happening for them. Sometimes it is a case of just saying, what's happening? Who's after you? What's happening for you? They might not be aggressive. They might not be worried about anybody's safety except their own. They could be quite docile. Psychosis is a very scary word, but then they can go into that aggression part. So what we suggest when it comes to aggression and psychosis, talk to your loved one in a calm, caring tone of voice. Just be there for them, find out what's happening for them, and if you're worried about their safety of your own, 000. get an ambulance, get some help, call the CAT team, please. Again, in our resource section, lots of phone numbers and websites you can actually access and find out more information.